Welcome to Arkansas Wildlife, a fresh take on the natural state's great outdoors presented by the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Hunting season in Arkansas traditionally starts with the opening of dove season, and we're kicking off our fall season with an opening day dove hunt in Faulkner County. We'll also see how the Game and Fish Commission and Arkansas landowners are creating and managing wildlife habitat through the controlled use of fire. And a little later in the show, we'll take a few of those birds from our opening day dove hunt and create a tasty version of Jaeger schnitzel using doves. All that and this week's winner of a free hunting and fishing license right after this break. Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Academy. The anticipation hangs as thick as the dew. The first hint of a radiant sunrise. A flight of doves slicing through the air. Counting the minutes until shooting time. The wait is almost over.
It's the kickoff to the hunting season. You know, I'm 52 years old and I haven't slept well the last 2 nights anticipating this morning, you know, and it's, you know, you're going to get to see people you haven't seen in a while. You're going to get to hunt with people that you've hunted with all your life. Your kids are going to be involved, your parents are going to be there, and it's just it's a very fun time, and so we anticipate that a lot.
From tomorrow till the next opening day, we count down the days. We revolve our whole year around opening morning.
There's a lot of anticipation about it. It's the first time you kind of get your gun out since turkey season, and you know get to shoot some rounds.
Luke, good girl.
Good shot! Good shot, son.
Oh, it means the world to me. I get to come out here and hunt with my family, some of my best friends, and it opens all hunting, basically. It's just the start, you know, I get hyped up. It's awesome.
It's a good time with good friends. You can sit there and talk to your buddies all you want, and it's the start of hunting season, start of the best time of year.
Friends for 18 years and 13 years of hunting together.
And it's just, I mean, more than just, you know, hunting. Like you bond with everyone, it's fellowship, you get to have a blast together, doing what we love.
Even though I had to wake up at 4 o'clock, it was just, I was smiling the whole way down here. You know, I knew I was gonna have a great time whether or not we killed anything or even seen anything, because just out here with all my friends and family, just having fun.
Longtime friends Andy Miller and Tommy Browning have bonded through dove hunting since early in their childhood. And now they're passing their love of the pursuit to the next generation.
We've been doing it together 37 years, but it goes even further back. My dad, actually, I remember in the late 60s, big dove hunts there on our farm, our family farm.
I actually started in '79 going to Andy's place with his dad and my dad, and so that 37 years has been a long time, but not all with just me and Andy. We started with our dads, just like his daughters, starting with him this morning.
Mom and Dad woke up at 4:15 and they woke me up at 4:30.
I was surprised when I shook her and said, "Are you ready to go dove hunting?" She popped out there and said, "Yes," and bounced right out and started putting on her clothes. Yeah. All right, go get your dove! Go get your dove! All right, give me 5. Yeah, I took her a little bit last year where she sat with her mother and I, but she just kind of sat and retrieved a few. But this was the first time she actually shot doves.
Including all those together, it's 13.
13. She looked at me and said, she said, "This is a family tradition, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it is."
The tradition part is key. So you get family involved, you know, friends, you have first timers that come, you have the people that's been here with you 25 or 30 years, and a lot of the kids have grown up here.
I started hunting whenever I was 4 with Dad and my Uncle Tom, but I wasn't carrying a shotgun or anything. But about 8 years old, 9 years old is whenever I started carrying a shotgun and shooting.
Before we could even hold the shotguns up to aim them, we had our little Red Ryder BB guns, and we'd wait till the dragonflies landed on the power lines, and we'd try and shoot them off all day long. Have a big old time.
I'm 23, and I guess the first year I actually came out and dove hunted, I was 8. So I've been doing it quite a few years.
I'm new to coming and hunting with these guys. The last 2 years I've come, last year and this year, and it's really just a great group of people. You show up, you have a lot of fun, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
But before the season even starts, there's a lot of hard work that goes into providing and maintaining the habitat that attracts mourning doves and other wildlife.
We plant wheat and we let that mature, and so we start early. We leave that wheat so the turkeys can feed on it, the deers feed, and as the turkeys and quail hatch, they have stuff to feed on. And then we turn that under, you know, a couple weeks prior to season, and then we replant, and that's what we do. We plant it again, and we'll leave it and make the cycle all over again this year. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it, disking the fields, you know, and planting and fertilizing, and it's not just to come out opening morning and shoot. They were flying real good, and they were coming in a lot of 2s and 3s, and that's handy for the shooter, because if they come in at 10 or 12, it's hard to pick one out. They're very tough to get. You know, they're called gray rocket, and they're for very good reason. They're very mobile birds and agile, and they can just float along, or they can really dip and dive and cut and make you have to be on your game to get them.
Personally, it's one of my favorite kind of hunts. There's not a whole lot of weight.
If anybody knows us, we're not very quiet. We're pretty chatty, so dove hunting's right up our alley. We're always taking selfies with the dog, hunt dog, or Snapchat.
You can look out for each other, yell across the field if someone has a bird coming behind them or something. Just crack jokes and hoop and holler for each other when you do good.
It's definitely not easy, but anybody can really do it. It just takes practice and be paying attention. You're not going to hit them all. You're definitely going to miss.
Dad wanted me to try his gun, hand-me-down gun. I normally shoot my trusty Beretta 391, and he got me his gun, and I blame it on the gun.
What's the best way to make up for an off-day shooting? Meet their secret weapon, Lou, an energetic 4-year-old black lab who didn't discriminate about whose birds she retrieved.
We can't control which doves she marks to go get. I mean, she's just a really good dog.
It was strategy, you know. Just, Lou, go get that done. She was on the girls' team today. We came out on top.
After a good morning in the fields, these hunters wasted no time in getting the birds prepped and ready for an old-fashioned cookout with all the fixins'. And finally, it's smiles all around for both young and old as they wrap up the day with a photo shoot to document a successful start to hunting season. And for the youngest hunter, well, she's already looking to the future.
I was thinking, I really hope that this keeps on going on, because this is a really fun place and it's very exciting, and I think I want lots of other people to be on here and see the fun that we had.
Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by the Arkansas Game and Fish Foundation. Support wildlife and conservation education in the natural state. Become a member today. Arkansas landowners and land managers use many tools to create and enhance wildlife habitat in the natural state. One of the best and most cost-effective methods may also be one of the most misunderstood.
Prescribed fire is the use of fire as a management tool in a controlled manner on a specific land area to accomplish specific land management objectives. We do that in a way that reduces the danger to surrounding landowners, that reduces the danger to fire or smoke sensitive areas inside the burn unit, and reduces smoke damage outside of the burn unit.
Although fire is often viewed as a destructive force, it also has the power to create healthy habitats and revitalize degraded ecosystems.
Fire has been an intricate part of natural ecosystems for as long as critters have lived on the land. Lightning strikes, volcanoes have started fires for millennia. Humans have used fire to manipulate the area around us for our benefit since we crawled out of caves. We know that Native Americans use fire very extensively, so the land in Arkansas specifically has a long ecological history with fire.
As the U.S. population increased and expanded into previously unsettled areas, fire suppression soon outpaced fire as a land management tool. For much of the 20th century, there were government policies and public awareness campaigns to suppress fire. The end result was that fire was largely abandoned as a land management tool for the first time in human history.
The landscape that we're managing with fire today is totally different than the landscape that Native Americans managed with fire. There weren't fire-sensitive features out there, there weren't roads, there weren't towns in the way. On the other side of that, we now have nearly 100 years of fire protection, accumulated fuels, plant communities that aren't functioning in the way that they need to function. So now we're kind of going full circle and putting fire back on the landscape through the things that fire has done for millennia.
Today, natural resource managers use fire to accomplish numerous goals for native plant communities and wildlife management.
We use prescribed fire today as land managers to reduce dangerous fuel loads. We can use fire underneath native oak stands to encourage the generation of oak and pine. Use fire to eliminate species we don't want in these stands like maple and sweet gum. And in a field environment, we can use fire to maintain that field and prevent it from growing up into a forest.
Many of Arkansas's native plant species benefit from periodic fire.
Our upland oaks, white oak, post oak, blackjack oak, our native grasses are fire dependent. The grasses that go along with quail habitat, big blue stem, little blue stem, Indian grasses, those wildflowers that are associated with that community. A lot of times that's the reason that we're burning. We're trying to clean off that dead litter layer, that dead grass layer, to let the live plants below them flourish.
Fire also benefits many natural state game animals as well as non-game wildlife, including some species that have seen better days.
Our upland species like quail, for example, are adapted to living in an environment maintained by fire. Deer and turkey, most game species also benefit. It keeps the vegetation young and fresh and more nutritious for the wildlife.
And it doesn't take long for a burned area to regenerate with desirable vegetation.
We typically see regrowth within a matter of days or weeks after a prescribed fire, and actually more plant growth than there was before the fire a lot of times.
Prescribed fire provides many benefits for landowners and the wildlife that use their land, but an improperly controlled fire can have negative consequences. The key to safely and effectively using fire as a management tool requires planning and preparation.
One of the core elements of properly using prescribed fire is knowing what that fire is going to do before you strike the match. So we know how topography influences fire behavior. We know how wind and humidity and fuel moisture influence fire behavior, and we're trained on that. And if the conditions are going to give us a fire behavior that is not conducive to our management goal, we won't burn that day. We don't light a prescribed fire unless we have sufficient control lines around that burn to contain it. That could be a creek, that could be a gravel road, that could be a trail. Often we construct fire breaks with heavy equipment, with bulldozers or tractors.
The next consideration is weather.
From a layman's perspective, that's often frustrating. Well, the sun's shining and the grass is dry, well, I want it burned. Well, there's a lot of factors that we have to take into account. Humidity is very important. It's got to be dry enough to burn, but not too dry that the fire is going to be uncontrollable. Atmospheric stability is also important. We need enough instability in the atmosphere that the smoke can rise, but not too much to create dangerous circumstances. We need enough wind to push the fire where we want it to go, but not too much.
Regeneration begins within weeks, sometimes even days. And just like it was before a century of fire suppression, wildlife reap the benefits.
There's a lot of tools out there that landowners have access to improve their property for wildlife. Among all those tools, fire is one of the most versatile, it's one of the most effective, and one of the most cost-effective. There are private companies that will come out and burn your property for you for a fee. Arkansas Forestry Commission will also do that, and they all do a great job. Private lands biologists, foresters, or rangers with Arkansas Forestry Commission can consult with you, develop a plan for you to use fire on your property, see what your property needs there. But the first step is to contact either a private lands biologist or a Forestry Commission employee and take that first step to getting the plan together, figure out what you need, and figure out how we can make that happen.
Arkansas Wildlife is brought to you in part by Farmers Association, now with 5 locations to serve you: Little Rock, Benton, Malvern, Cabot, and Searcy.
Welcome back to Arkansas Wildlife. We've got some of our doves from the opening morning hunt. We're going to cook up some dove Jaeger schnitzel. We're going to start with about a pound of mushrooms here in our medium hot skillet. There's no oil or fat of any type in there. We're just going to cook these mushrooms for about 3 or 4 minutes until they start to release their water. All right, our next step, we're going to add, you can use bacon fat, butter, lard. I'm going to use a tablespoon of bacon fat and a tablespoon of lard. Now we're going to add half of a sweet yellow onion, kind of roughly chopped. Now we're going to let this cook until our onions start to get clear, translucent. That's smelling good. Take this and set it aside. We're making Jaeger schnitzel, and Jaeger is a German word for hunter. So typically this would be made with wild boar or venison. We've taken the breast and pounded them out between a couple of pieces of plastic wrap to make them about 1/8 of an inch thin. Dusted them in a little bit of flour. You want to have the fire medium high because we want to cook it about a minute on each side and still leave a little bit of pink in the middle, which isn't going to take long with a 1/8 inch thickness on these dove breasts. You'll start to have a good golden brown color. Now comes the good part. We're going to make gravy, and who doesn't like gravy, right? So we're going to scrape up those loosened particles and brown bits of flour and dove in there. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of our fat. So we've got 2 tablespoons of flour here. We're going to add that and basically make a little roux. We're going to add 1 cup of the broth to this roux we've got going here. You want it to be a pretty good thickness. And that gravy is just about perfect consistency there. Now we're going to add our last ingredient, 2 tablespoons of sour cream, our onions and mushrooms back to the gravy here. Get that all mixed up, and there you go. You can serve this over rice, pasta. Today we're using gnocchi, which is a potato-based pasta. Dove Jaeger schnitzel.
Arkansas Wildlife presents the 2016 Watch and Win giveaway. During each first run episode of Arkansas Wildlife, we'll give away an Arkansas resident hunting and fishing license, a $35.50 value provided by Academy Sports and Outdoors. At the end of the year, we'll award the 2016 Grand Prize, a lifetime hunting and fishing license provided by Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, along with $1,000 worth of sporting goods gift cards provided by the Arkansas Game and Fish Foundation. Here's how it works. Visit the Game and Fish Commission's website at agfc.com and click on the Arkansas Wildlife icon to enter. This week's winner is Michael Jones from Conway. Congratulations, Michael, and thanks for watching.